Hello, and thank you for joining us. This is No Soundbites Allowed, and I am your host, Michael Voss. I'm the political dragon here in our offices in the Bronx, New York. It's April 24th, approximately 3:30 in the afternoon, and I want to rant a little bit. I'm pissed off. I am tired of the emotional manipulation that continues to happen, and we're seeing this in many forms across America, somewhat around the world. And we need to just call this out for what it is. Now, before I get started with this, let me first mention that what we normally do on the channel is long-form political commentary. We look at the how and the why things are happening today and what might happen in the future. And every Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do a live stream with you to hear your voice about the issues that are affecting us all, to support the First Amendment, whether our government, whether social media giants, no matter who may like it or not, we want to hear your voice about what's happening. And we hope you'll join us this Sunday as well. But today I was annoyed. I got very, very annoyed because I keep hearing the same argument since October 8th, continuing 7 months now. I've been hearing the same thing over and over again. But what about the children? What about the hungry people? Mike, don't you care about that? You're evil, you're racist, you're an ist and a phobe because you just don't care. No. That's just not real. That's not even an argument. That's a distraction. That is trying to silence someone and to cow them into submission because of emotional manipulation. And it needs to stop because it's not real. And let's be honest, the people using this argument don't care either. Matter of fact, they may be even less sensitive than I have been. Now, let me clarify my position as best I can. About a day ago, on Facebook, someone I know asked the question, why are we sending 90 billion plus overseas? Why are we increasing the net debt of the United States, increasing inflation by printing new money? Why are we doing that to send the money not to help Americans who are homeless, Americans who are starving or hungry, our children? Rather than help anyone in America, why are we sending this money overseas? Fair enough. That's a simple question. A lot of people have that question. Now, I responded to that with some clarification that it's $95 billion that's being overseas, and that $9 billion of that is going to Hamas, to Gaza directly, and about $7 billion to Israel. I further verified and backed that up by citing my sources, making sure that this individual and anyone reading this post would be able to find out for themselves exactly where their money is going, all of the bills involved, all of the exact wording involved, so that they could hold their politicians accountable for what is going on. Real simple, you would think. And then I started getting the responses. Individuals started saying, well, Mike, no, you don't understand because Gaza isn't Hamas. Yes, they are. Just like the United States is the Biden administration. That's our government. Whomever we elect, that's who represents us. That's who we are. And the Gazans, the Palestinians, elected Hamas, a terrorist organization, an organization that by its declarations, its charter, its repeated statements publicly is actively seeking genocide because they don't like what another group of people believe. That people who do not believe what Hamas believes, what Iran believes, well, they want to genocide them. They have written it down. It's part of their charter. It's what they have said. In fact, they said so again, not just on October 7th, but on October 10th. So let's stop trying to paint Gaza as some kind of sanctuary. It's not. It's not a nice place. And its government aren't good people. They are terrorists, internationally recognized terrorists. That is a fact. Stop trying to justify terrorism. And what they did on October 7th is terrorism. Stop trying to justify it. That's what it is. It's as simple as that. You may not like that. You may want to prefer other things, but that is the central fact. The government of Gaza don't care about the Palestinian people any more than anyone else in the Middle East. Let's be very clear and honest about that. Why do I say that? How could I say that? They knew that in attacking civilians in the equivalent of 9/11 for Israel, they would be massively retaliated against, that this was starting a war. They picked a war they knew they could not win. And they did that knowing that this would have a massive impact on the Palestinian people. And they did it anyway, because not for any other reason than genocide. That was their reasoning. And they said so again on October 10th, that they will continue to fight this war, harming their own people until they genocide Israel. Those were their words on October 10th of 2023. Oh, but I keep getting these people who come back to me and say, but Mike, you just don't understand. Yeah, I do understand. You don't like the answer. I don't like the answer, but this is the reality. So let's stop trying to sugarcoat it. But I keep getting these messages, and I want to be very clear. What I said and have continuously said is that we should not provide any support to Gaza, to any of the Palestinians and the Palestinian government. We should give them nothing until we have the American hostages that they continue to hold back home, safe and alive. That's what I've said continuously, and I say it yet again. We do not fund an enemy of our nation that killed our people, that is torturing our people. We do not give them any help until we get our people back and the fighting is over. It's just that simple. And we know that the single key component to get a ceasefire right now is the hostages. If Hamas gives back all of the hostages, especially if they are alive, give them back, there will be a ceasefire that same day. That is the international stance. Everyone is aware of that. And Hamas will not release the hostages. Point blank. I will get into that in just a moment on what happened today about the American hostages. But that's my position. And so a response I received, and no one should pick on anyone who had this commentary. It's good to have different voices. But they say to me, and this is someone I know, said, Mike, I don't love the support package. But if you are calling all support for starving and dying Gazan citizens support for terrorists, aren't you calling all Gazan citizens terrorists? Let's start with the first thing first. No, that's a false equivalence. That's not what I said. I do not want to fund the government of Gaza, which is Hamas, which is a terrorist organization. And we know, going back decades now, all international news media have reported consistently that all funding, all aid that goes into Gaza, at least some of it is taken, usurped, redirected by the government of Gaza, Hamas, to the fighting forces of Hamas. Every international news media source, every credible news media agency has reported that at some time over the last several decades repeatedly, including most recently in 2023. So let's be clear. If we're sending money over there, it's going to fund Hamas. And I do not want to fund Hamas, a terrorist organization that killed Americans. I know it's repetitive, but it doesn't seem to sink in. So no, I'm not calling the Palestinian people terrorists. I'm calling their government terrorists because they are. And I am saying I will not help the people of Palestine as they are at war and they continue to hold Americans hostage. No, that makes them our enemy too. We wouldn't help the people of Berlin while we were fighting Germany, their government. Same situation here. But let's go on. One of the other things that I tend to always hear is, how else do you think we should aid starving children? It's always about the children. But the children, Mike, we have to do this for the children. Let's be clear that none of this is being done for the children. Very clear about that. Joe Biden decided to build a port for Hamas Not because of the children. He did it because he was losing votes in Michigan and needed to get the Democratic Socialists of America, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, to get the progressive wing of the Democratic Party to vote for him so he could be able to compete against Donald Trump in the 2024 election. That's why why he's building the port. That's why he's been doing a lot of the aid. It's not because he was concerned about the children. Otherwise, he would have been sending them the aid long before all of the primary votes started coming out. Let's be clear about that. So that's not the reality. The truth is that's about politics and looking like he's doing something, not because he actually wants to do it. It's all about his votes. So don't tell me that Joe Biden is doing this for the kids. He's doing it for the votes. And these kids over at Columbia, at Harvard, Binghamton University, that are making all these protests, and they're saying, well, this is all about the starving children. You disingenuous idiots. Let's be very clear. You don't care about the starving children. You didn't care about the starving children in Madagascar, in Yemen, the Congo, in Niger, in Chad, in Liberia, Haiti, Afghanistan. I don't see protests for any of those nations. I don't hear any of those colleges saying that we have to change our government and take our money and give it to those nations where we have more children that are starving, more children that are in war zones, more children that are being oppressed, and some of them by terrorist governments. I don't hear any of those colleges talking about those kids and their concerns because they don't care. When we look at this, again, these are international sources that I am using here. If you're looking at the death rate from malnutrition, most recent numbers by 2019, and if you look, and I will try and find Palestine, 0.6%, 0.6 deaths per 100,000 people. That includes all the children, 0.6%. Okay, let's look at Haiti. Dominican Republic, 4.7. Haiti, 8.2. 8.2. The Dominican Republic is 700 miles away from the United States. There are 40,000 Americans in Haiti right now. Haiti is subsumed by gang warfare. It is a war zone. It was a hellish place to start with, deep poverty, and now it is an active war zone, and it's 700 miles away from the United States, and I don't see any of these students screaming about the children that are in Haiti that are starving, that are being affected by war, that the United States should be doing something there. In fact, we stopped talking. The news media stopped talking about Haiti. They stopped talking about the 40,000 Americans that are stuck in Haiti, and that the Biden-Harris administration stopped even trying to get them out. No, they don't talk about that. 8.6 deaths per 100,000. You're talking about more than 15 times the amount of death and struggling because of hunger than in Palestine. So why did they pick Palestine and not Haiti, which is closer to home and something we can do more about? Because they don't care. Okay, let's just pick Central African Republic, 29.5 deaths per 100,000. How about another one? Congo, 11.5. Mali, 57.1. Ethiopia, 12.9. Yemen, where's Yemen? I just had Yemen. 4.5. Going to the Middle East, let's see, 0.9 in Turkey. Iraq is 0.3. Wow, that's surprising. Saudi Arabia, 0.6, the exact same thing as in Palestine. Let's see, China has 1.1, India 1.2, Afghanistan, actually surprisingly low there. France, 2.1. What about all these other places? Brazil, 3.7, Bolivia, 10.1, Guatemala, 18.6, Mexico, 6.6. If they're so worried about the children and all the starving children, these are all nations that are massively larger than Palestine, bigger than Gaza, and they have 10 times as many children that are starving. Where's your protest for those children? Where is your outrage, your outpouring of support for those nations? Several of them in active wars as we speak, several of them controlled by terrorist or communist nations. Where's your outpouring of support for them? There isn't one, because they don't care. Because this isn't about what they know. It's not about what they're protesting because they were told to protest, because their teachers want them to protest, because this is the fad that they are into and part of the indoctrination of the colleges. And we know that today, Hamas decided to remind America about the hostages that they took on October 7th, over 200 days ago, and have been eliminated from the news media. None of the news media have been talking about the American hostages. We have never forgotten them. We have been talking about them since October 8th, continuously on this channel. But the mainstream news media forgot about them until the moment that Hamas decided to put out a video showing one of the Americans, reminding America that they're holding our people hostage and torturing them through the mainstream media. Mind you, no one will actually show you the video. There is no news media that will actually show you the video from Hamas. They will not let you see the words that were actually said. They're giving all the summaries. No matter which news station that you want to go to, they're not telling you what was actually said. But I can tell you what the State Department has said.
If it's real, that this is another example of Hamas preferring to hold hostages rather than end the war and bring much needed relief to the Palestinian people in Gaza. On the matter of hostage talks and negotiations, Abby, there is a deal on the table. Release the sick, the wounded, the elderly, a woman, and there is a ceasefire. It's simple as that.
It's as simple as that. Release the hostages, and there is a ceasefire. It's that simple. You're worried about the children around the world, and I keep hearing that. And again, oh, Mike, but what about the children? It's that simple. Release the hostages, there's a ceasefire. Release the hostages, and you can get humanitarian aid from around the world without any question. People will build the port for you to help get in that humanitarian aid with no arguments, with lots of support from nations around the world. The question is, release the hostages. Why won't they do that? Well, we've already told you on this channel several times. I believe it's because they killed the hostages, that the Americans are dead, and what they want is a guarantee that they will be safe after they reveal to the world that they killed the Americans. Not Israel. I'm talking about Hamas. And you will say, but Mike, it could be Israel. No, because if Israel did it, they would have told us. They would have used that as a PR weapon to get more pressure on Israel. And when Israel did kill hostages in the past, they did tell us instantly and gave us all the evidence so that Israel would have more pressure. The fact that up somewhere around 40 hostages are expected to be dead, very likely all the Americans, the reason why they don't want to reveal that or give them back is so that they have a protection. Again, they don't care about their people. They're willing to continue to have the Palestinian children that Harvard and many people seem to be so absolutely upset about. They will let them starve. They will let them die because they have a political objective. Stop talking about it being about children, because it's not the truth. It's not real. That's not an argument. That's an excuse. That's a justification. You're trying to make the bad guys look like good guys because that's what you're used to seeing in entertainment these days. That's a Disney movie, but we're in reality, and the bad guys are just bad. Hamas are just terrorists that don't care about anyone. They care about making people obey and to do what they want. That is evil, and that's Hamas. So, again, when I get asked this question, but Mike, what about the children? Great. I want to help the children, stop the war, end the terrorism, and then we'll take care of the children. It's that simple.
No Soundbites Allowed is a podcast hosted by Michael Vass. The podcast focuses on providing in-depth discussions on various political and social issues. As the title suggests, the aim is to go beyond quick sound bites and explore topics in greater detail. Michael Vass, the host, engages with guests to analyze and discuss current events, policies, and political ideologies. The live stream and videos cover a wide range of subjects, including politics, economics, social issues, and more. By delving into longer, more comprehensive conversations, No Soundbites Allowed aims to provide listeners with a deeper understanding of the complexities surrounding contemporary issues. AI is listening. Shouldn't you know what AI knows? Aren't you tired of being treated like a child by major media parrots and want to be respected as an adult? There is nothing to lose and a lot to potentially gain, so check out No Soundbites Allowed on all major social media platforms.